What is going on, party people? Carter here with Edged Mindset. Thank you for joining me. We're going to be looking at a banger of a knife. This is the Kunwu Gringo right here. Really like this one. I want to dive into it. I hope you like it as well. Before we begin, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. I really appreciate you guys, all your support, all the comments. It is so much fun running this channel and interacting with you guys every day. Yeah, I get the a-hole comments, I get the people talking trash, but for the most part, everybody is super cool and really nice, and we share ideas, and we get to converse back and forth. So please continue to do so. Take advantage of the community section on my channel, post pictures, interact with each other. Let's turn this knife thing into a big deal. Let's get more people into this. That is my goal, is to introduce people into this whole knife collecting, owning, using community. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm doing here. All right, let's get into this. Let me get off my soapbox. It was a pretty big one. It'll take me a minute to climb down from this. This is, all right, TLDR. This is a knife that really struck me when I first saw it. I love harpoons. I love big wide blades. I love Strider-esque opening holes. And I really like what Kunwu does with their quality, their textures, how they execute on knives. However, not quite. It fell short a little bit for me, just a little bit. And we're going to talk about that here in a minute. I thought this was going to be my ultimate favorite Kunwu ever. And it's not quite there. It's close, but it's not quite there. Let's jump into the boring stuff, you know, the lame stuff. Let's do the specs, right, with my lame. I need to get better gear. I really do. With how much content I make, I should have the coolest, like, titanium ruler ever instead of this Loctite stained cheap thing. I do like how flexible it is, though. It's kind of nice. The blade length on this is pretty big. 3 3/4 is what we're looking at here, to the tip of the scale there. Overall length is 8.5 inches. So this is a big boy. And if you know anything about those numbers, you will realize that it has a very good blade to handle ratio. So if that's something you're into, this has got you. However, it does have a big choil, so it cuts into some of that cutting length right there. Actually, let's get a measurement on that cutting length. That is something that I have a bad habit of ignoring. One good thing about this Loctite on here is I know which end I'm going for when I grab it. Yeah. So overall, cutting edge is about 3, what do you want to say? 3 1/4. Hard to measure, right? If you're actually measuring the curve itself, it's going to be different than doing this. This has so much belly. It feels kind of cheap measuring it this way. But yeah, it's around there, 3 1/4. So you lose some of that. You lose some of that cutting edge because of that big choil. But I'm team choil. I love choils. I'm a choil. I don't know. I was trying to come up with something clever to rhyme with, but it didn't happen. 5.9 ounces. So it is a beefy boy. It is a heavy, beefy boy. Here, hold on one sec. Do you like how I said hold on and I just paused the video so I literally could have just not said anything and you'd have no idea that I just closed the blinds a little bit? Anyways, back to the video. Let's go over the materials, right? Titanium handle, titanium pocket clip. We'll talk more in detail as we move along. S390 steel, not M390 steel. Every video you're going to watch on this particular knife, people are going to shout that out. It is S390, which is a high carbon tool steel, just like the Primo here, which I would have to say I actually ended up liking this one a little bit more than the Gringo, which is not what my first assessment of these knives were. This is the one I thought I would love. This one is the one I was on the fence with, and I actually like this one more, mainly due to ergonomics and some other things, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. One thing I like about Kunwu knives is their love and use of interesting steels, but more specifically, tool steels. I love tool steels. I love high carbon steels, not only from a performance standpoint, not only from a, I don't know, it just feels like it touches into the roots of knives more than some of the more modern steels. Not that it's not a modern steel. I mean, than some of the more modern thoughts on steels with high chromium and high corrosion resistance and things like that. Part of it is I live in a desert, you know, so keep that in mind. I like tool steels because I really don't get a downside from them. I don't have an issue with rusting, but I know some people do, so keep that in mind. But I love tool steels. I don't know, something about it. I just like them. I like the way they perform. I also like the way that they can patina, just like this Primo here that I did a forced patina on. Absolutely love the way this thing turned out. I love the way this thing looks, and I love the way it turned out. I like how my brain mashes things together. Gets interesting. Whether you want to do a natural patina from just using it and handling it, or you want to cheat and do your forced patina like I did there, either way, patinas are awesome. Now this one is not gonna patina because it has a Stonewash DLC Finish, which is a first for Kunwu. In the past, the only way to get the DLC was over the top of the satin finish, which is very cool. They do it very well. It's a very unique look. However, if you don't like the shiny, you probably shied away from it. You don't have to do that anymore because this comes with a nice Stonewash DLC. So you get kind of a more matte finish. It's not going to be shiny. It's not going to be a fingerprint magnet. It's not going to alert your enemy when you're busting doors. Whatever your use case is, it's not going to reflect that light, and it's not going to look as, quote unquote obnoxious as some people, might say, but you get all the durability and protection of DLC just without the glare. Let's do some more size comparisons. So in this video, I'm doing a squirrel. This is a, ADHD video where I can't seem to get through my main segments without going on tangents. You're in for one when it happens this early. Here it is compared to a Paramilitary 2. It's bigger, equally, handles longer, blades longer, similar proportions, but yeah, it is bigger. This is a big knife. Let's compare the kind of width of these two right here. You can see it's also pretty wide, especially with this poon going on there. That really pushes it over. Man, this is a nice silhouette though in the closed position. Really like the way this one looks. Here is a Chavez 229 size comparison. It's bigger than a Chavez 229. It's a large knife. It is a large knife. And here it is next to a Chub. I don't know, just for fun. Let's see. Yeah, the handle is almost as long as my entire Chub right there. So very big boy. Look at this cutting edge that you have here. Look at that belly. This thing is a workhorse. This is a working man's knife. One of the critiques that people have kind of pointed out on this is just with this big flat blade, and it's relatively thin blade stock for how tall this blade is, and the grind is quite high. And so what that means is you don't get a lot of visual transition between these grinds. So from a distance, like if the light isn't hitting it, it almost looks like it's all flat. And so some people have complained that it looks like a trowel or a shovel or a spade or something like that. I don't really get those vibes, but you don't see this poon doesn't stand out as well as it could have. It would have been absolutely sick if this was like a deep hollow grind right there. That would have looked killer. But regardless, you got the poon. And when you get the poon, you don't complain about the poon. Gives you a nice place to put your thumb. You can really press hard on this thing. You are locked in. You've got jimping all the way up to it, just about right there, that you can also use as a front flipper. It works reasonably well. I wouldn't say that I would recommend front flipping as the primary way to open this up. That's what the thumb hole is for, and it works really, really well. Super nice action on this. Just like all the Kunwus, right? It's running on bearings. It is precision made, perfectly centered. You can take this thing apart, slap it back together, and it's still going to be centered. You've got the Damascus collar going around that pivot there. Satin DLC on the hardware. No PBD on this baby. Everything is DLC. High quality stuff. Contoured handles, titanium with this honeydew kind of cantaloupe type texture on there, which is really, really nice. Some people have pointed out it looks kind of gross. I get that when you think of it that way. Somebody commented that it looks like tripe, intestines. And since then, I've looked at this thing a little bit different. It is a very organic type texture on there, and it does look different, different. They do crazy stuff with their texturing. In terms of how grippy it is, it's perfect. It gives you a lot of grip. I don't think anybody's going to complain that it's too aggressive. This one, on the other hand, this one is borderline too aggressive. I like it. Some people don't. Really, really grippy, like high coarse sandpaper here. This one, though, is just nice and textured. It's got a lot of it, too. It holds in your hand really, really well. Next, let's go to ergonomics. This is where this one kind of falls a little bit short. Despite its overall size, it's a little cramped for me right here. You know, not bad enough that I would really knock it, but I don't know. My hand just feels kind of cramped because it's really kind of squozen between these two. It also means I don't think they're going to be able to do a mini version of this. A lot of people are calling for a mini, kind of like the Padre and the Compadre. I mean, they could give it a shot, but unless they change the design of the handle, there's no way a mini is going to fit in my hand. There's just no way. If they don't maintain this distance, and I guess they could, you know, if they just shorten up the butt here and then shorten up the blade, that would do it. But if they do a straight shrink everything type approach, I'm thinking it would be just way too cramped. As it stands right now, the ergonomics are not bad. I'm not getting any hot spots, so don't misunderstand me. It's good. Like, it's good. I think part of it is being spoiled with the Primo here, which just melts in my hand. This feels so good in my hand. This one just doesn't quite hit the mark as well. It's not bad. It is not bad. It is better than most. Keep that in mind. It's better than most, but just not as good as I had hoped it would be. Overall, I really dig this knife, but it just didn't quite hit as well as I had expected to. But once again, we're talking like the knife itself is amazing. The value that you get on this thing is amazing. It is probably the sharpest knife out of the box I have ever received. Look how wide that secondary bevel is. This thing is a laser right out of the box. Amazing knife for the money, but it just wasn't quite as cool as I had hoped. Like when I first saw this, I was like, this is the one. This is my perfect Kunwu. And I don't know if it quite is. It's close, but I don't know if it quite is. 50% lockup, 40%, somewhere around there. Rock solid. No shake, no shimmy, no slip, no side to side, nothing. Standard pocket clip, works really well, contoured. Everything has that nice kind of acid stonewash type look on there. Not sure how they're doing that. I don't know if they are anodizing and then stonewashing, because I don't think you can acid wash titanium. It doesn't react to it. I know there is some chemicals that will kind of darken titanium up, but usually not to this degree. So it could just be blasted. You know, it might be sandblasted and then stonewashed, actually. Now that I think about it, that's probably what they're doing here. Pocket clip's good. It's rock solid. It looks sexy. It works perfectly well. This will shred your pockets a tad, but come on. Pants are cheap. Jeans are cheap. Knives are cool. Much cooler than pants. So I would go with this over protecting your pants any day. Look at how seamless this backspacer is. Like in low light from a distance, it almost looks like it's integral-ish. It is really, really clean. All of these just match up. Super nice. Overall done very, very well. Even has a lanyard hole. It even has a lanyard hole. The Primo doesn't. I don't know. Nobody really uses lanyards anymore, but it'll come back in style. And then that way you can throw them on some of these older knives in your collection, no problems. You know, if there's room for a hole, put a hole. That's what I say. You can flip this pocket clip around just like the Primo here. They've really kind of dialed in their archetype of their knives, right? And I like that. I like consistency between brands. I like knowing if I buy one of these, I'm going to like the pocket clip because they've dialed it in and they're going to use the same pocket clip. I like that their system for switching, you can move this over here if you want, or it comes with a wire clip if you prefer a wire clip, and you can put that here, or you can rock them both at the same time, whatever you're into. Kunwu's got it down. And as another plug, by the way, I'm not sponsored. You know, I paid for both of these, right? I bought this one on the secondary market, so I got a good deal on it. I paid full price on this. Well, I think I bought it from White Mountain Knives and used WMK for 10% off. Not my code. It's just a code out there. I paid full price for this guy, as most of my knives are, right? I buy most of the stuff I have. Very rarely do I get stuff sent to me to check out. When I do, I make sure to note it. Otherwise, it's all me. So not a shill here. I just like what Kunwu's doing. I also really like their Facebook group. If you're not on Facebook, sorry, but their group is a lot of fun, a lot of jokes, very lighthearted, has a little bit of attitude about them. They post a lot. It's a cool group, kind of headed by Sergio, who is an interesting character. I like him. Some people don't. He's kind of polarizing. But anyways, awesome knives. If you're into something like this, go check it out. If not, don't. But that's why you watch this video, right? So you could kind of check it out by proxy without actually spending the money on it and get a sense to see if it's something you want to look for on the secondary market maybe. All right, guys, what do you think of the Kunwu Gringo? Comment down below. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good day. I'll talk to you later.